Hello viewers, here is a video for Lemont. He wanted to see this Galaxy oscillating fan again. This is a 12-inch amber model. Of course, I have forgotten once again what the number is. The information's tag is kind of different on this one. It's a piece of paper, and it's of course type 12-1. 0.43 amps, E20739. I think that's the UL number. This is an earlier model. It has the older plug and very thin cord. I don't know exactly how far back these go. I do believe that they go back to the 70s. There's another writing on there which I think might contain the date information, but I can't really tell what it says. Anyways, these of course were an icon in the 80s, and so that's one of the reasons why I like these so much, because I love the 1980s. And these are in fact really some of my favorite fans. Some of my favorite tabletop fans of this style, and I would argue that these were the best desk fans that we saw. I think they're even better than the earlier ones that are made of cast iron and so forth, because a lot of those metal ones, they may have been built a little better, but they were very loud. Not all of them, but a lot of them were very loud. And of course they were extremely expensive. These were neither. These were not that loud. In fact, they're not loud at all. And they weren't really that expensive. These were really accessible to the average consumer at the time. And despite the lack of noise, they really whip the ear around. You don't sacrifice any performance for the lower noise level. And not to mention they look really cool with the translucent blades. I happen to like the amber ones the best. There's also a lot, they came in blue. There was a lot of blue ones. And there was different variants of the amber. Some of them was like a darker brownish kind of color. Some were a little bit hazy. These are the very clear ones. So there are a number of different variants. I don't think there were a number of variants of the blue ones. I think it was primarily just the amber ones that had the different colors. But they're really neat fans. Probably some of the most used vintage fans that I have, because they're really practical. They're very quiet, very powerful, and they look great on almost any table, next to a lot of the equipment that I have too. So this one's in pretty good condition. It's dusty, of course, because it gets a lot of use. The tilting mechanism does still work. And that tilting mechanism seems to be one of the only things that goes wrong with these over the years. I have a few now that the tilting mechanism just doesn't work, and I can't get it to work, and I don't understand why it doesn't work. It's really odd, and I've seen other people have the same issue, so I don't quite get that. But otherwise, these were very, very reliable. I have yet to personally come across any of these that don't work. And I've seen these out and about occasionally. Not so much in recent years, but I've seen them in different places, and they're often in disgusting, horrific condition, and they're still going just fine. So really, these were made well, and they were made correctly, and they lasted. These stood the test of time, because now these are getting to be 40-something years old, and they're still going. Most of them without a problem. So it really says something about the quality. And the blades never warp. I wouldn't say that they're the most durable blades out there. They definitely can break. They have a tendency to shatter if they're dropped or banged or anything, but they never warp, at least not that I've seen. This is one of two that I picked up a number of years ago at a local estate sales store. Not sure if that business is still there or not. I tend to think it was. They always seem to do a pretty good business. I want to say I paid $5 a piece for these. I've bought them at the Goodwill for $5. I've bought them at tag sales and so forth for like $2. You can get them really cheap. There was a number of discussions recently about these, buying them on the e-ripoff or the eBay. You know, I've really rid my life of that website in recent times, because I find more and more often you get people that list things for outrageous prices. They don't know how to ship things, because of course the shipping services don't treat the packages very nicely, and so you really have to pack something quite securely to survive. And these kind of fans are one of those things that will break very easily in shipping, and that's kind of why I've deterred people from buying them on eBay. Even if you don't mind spending the money, you don't really have a good chance of these surviving unless they're packed really securely, which there are people on the e-ripoff that know what they're doing and that will pack it correctly, but unfortunately a lot of them just don't know. Anyway, so with that being said, let's go ahead and get this thing plugged up. I'll get the kilowatts meter out, and we can see how much power it draws. It's another item of note. These were highly efficient. They are rated for less than half an amp, and the amount of power they put out, that's quite good. Right now we're testing at 121.6 volts, a little bit higher than usual. Go over to amps, and let's start this thing up on the low. We're towards the beginning of the year, so I haven't used this yet. I'm not sure what kind of condition the bearings are in. It's cold down here, so they could be a little bit stiff. There's something inside the hub of this one. I don't know what it is. Don't care. It seems to work just fine anyways. And it looks like it started up with no problem at all. It's slightly out of balance, but not really enough to cause any kind of concern. And it's running right at the speed it should be, no problem. And it's nearly inaudible. You can hardly hear it. And it's already outputting more air than pretty much any 12-inch oscillating fan you could buy today. And it's only pulling 0.25 amps. You see, it's whipping out the air already. Oh, jeez. Let's see what her wattage is here. The watts are 28. And I find that a lot of newer oscillating fans are rated for 35 watts. That of course would be at the high speed. And it'll make more noise and move less air than this is. Okay, up to the medium. Pretty good increase in speed. There's a little bit of a motor hum to it. I wonder if that could be remedied. I don't know. Not really a bother. I don't remember doing that, but I must have. Maybe something's just loose, I don't know. But even with that hum, it's still very quiet. We're up to 0.30 amps. And let's go to the high. And that is the 0.4 amps, 0.39 amps, 47 watts. So a little bit, I think it was rated for 3.5 or 3.7. Oh, 0.43. So we are in fact just below what it's rated for. Geez, some of these grills are bent up here. How that happened. Huh. Okay, so it's cranking along just fine. Let's engage the oscillations. oscillates a bit fast for my preference. Medium. And the low. Okay, we'll go back to high and then we'll cut it off. And there's that loose thing in there, whatever the heck that is, I don't know. And the bearings look to be perfectly fine. So there it is, the Galaxy 12-inch oscillating fan in amber.